1818, two guys follow the creek looking for power. They picked this spot and got 200 acres. Now that's power from the creek, power from the water. They got 200 acres. President Adams signs the deed. They dammed up the creek and started cracking corn on the other side of the creek over there. It was a sandstone rock, didn't last very long. That rock wore out. They came across the creek right over here where this deck is at and built a log building and started sawing wood. People started locating near the mill and near the road. As the town got bigger, they started making flour and cornmeal on one side. They sawing wood on the other. Had to be interesting flour. In 1830, they started cracking corn again and making whiskey. We back up to 1830. If you go out of town to the east, your road turns to the left and comes back around to the right. You're actually going around the old horse racing track that was out there for 75 years. It was a big track. People came here from Kentucky, Illinois, and Indiana to race. There was lots of gambling. There were several saloons, and they're making whiskey here at the mill. It was 25 cents a gallon. There was also 2 or 3 hotels run by women. Very wicked place. Had a wicked reputation, but it did not have a name. People started calling it Sodom. For 25 years, that was the name of this place, was Sodom. Older history of Park County refers to Sodom, later known as Bridgeton. Now in 1849, the miller builds the first bridge, and actually it was the first bridge in Park County. Sometimes the millers would charge a toll to go through their bridge. That's how they got their money back, penny for horse, nickel for wagon. This miller did a subscription. He said, if I build a bridge, what would you give me? Penny, dollar, dime. He got 3 pages of pledges, and he built the very first bridge. Now he had a wooden dam. He raised up some poles, nailed some planks on it, and put railings on the side so people wouldn't fall off. It's called a wagon bridge. When he got the bridge done, he got the first post office, which was in the mill, and again, that's common. And they said, what's the name of your town? Well, he didn't want Sodom written over the door, so he named it Bridgeton, after his beautiful new bridge. It lasted 8 years, rotted, and fell in. The second bridge lasted 10 years, and then it rotted and fell in 1867. That's when the county comes in, pays the miller to tear his dam and bridge down, get them out of the way, so they could build the very first covered bridge right there. Now, according to the history, this mill has been open every year since 1823, and we are the 14th owners. It was not open every day, but it was open every year. I saw it for sale in '94. There was a white piece of cardboard nailed to the building, and somebody had written a mill for sale on it. Well, I started making offers, and after 8 months, I realized Mildred wouldn't sell me the place unless I promised her I would carry on. Other people were looking at it as like a bed and breakfast or maybe arts and crafts, and I could tell she didn't like them people. So I promised her. I said, Mildred, we're going to save that old mill, restore it, and carry on. And she said, Michael, I want you to have the mill because I know you're going to do good. And she wrote us a check for half the down payment because we couldn't afford it. But then the family wouldn't give me the keys. And I said, what's going on? I said, we're going to teach you how to run that old mill. 3 days, they decided I'd be a pretty good miller and gave me the keys. Now, this year, June the 15th was our 20th anniversary. We work 10 till tired, and which is usually dark, sometimes after dark. But I do a lot of demonstrations. I talk about the history of the mill, and we sell a lot of our products. More and more people want natural foods. All of our products, there's no GMOs, and a lot of it's organics, and one of them is actually certified chemical free. We bring in the best grains from around the country, and it's working for us. We're doing around 30,000 pounds a year right now. I make more pastry flour than anything. That's because it's in all of my mixes. Now, wheat, there's like 50,000 different kinds of wheat, but there's basically 2 categories, hard and soft. Hard wheat is descriptive. It's got a lot of gluten in it and it's hard. So I grind it up, and that makes your bread flour because it's high in gluten. Now, soft wheat is what the kind of wheat they grow in this area, and it's, again, descriptive, has very little gluten in it, so it's soft. And then when I grind it up, it comes out kind of a silky smooth. If you buy general purpose flour in the grocery store, it's a mixture of hard and soft. I don't mix them, I keep them separately. We do pastry flour, bread flour. I bring the hard wheat in from Montana because I believe that's where the best wheats come from. We got rye flour, oat flour, buckwheat flour, and we also do spelt flour. Now in the corns, we have like 11 different kinds of cornmeal. But I found out from other millers and reading the history that the stones that Ernie Weiss put back in here after he closed the feed mill are very special. There's 2,800 pounds of stones, and they're 1817. And they came all the way from France to here in 1817. The reason they went to so much trouble is this is freshwater quartz, which means it's harder than glass. It has an estimated life at 300 years. This is top of the line, the best ever made. On the hardness scale, diamond is a 10, glass is 5 to 5.5. This is a 7. It's harder than most metals. It's a little harder than carbide. It produced the best flour the world has ever known. Normally, in almost all cases, the millwrights would follow the creek looking for power. They pick a spot, they start milling, and people start locating near the mill. Well, and like before, the miller usually builds the first bridge. It's kind of his driveway, and he's got customers over there with heavy loads. They needed a bridge to get the people over here to the mill. And then people start locating near the mill, and the town grows. They get a post office, they get grocery stores, and today there's a lot of towns that have a mill street, maybe a mill section, but there's no mill. The mill's gone. There's probably a concrete bridge, and in most cases the dam's gone too. And a lot of people don't know why it says Mill Street, but that's how thousands of towns started. Well, we went to the festival in '78, and that's when I saw this place, and I fell in love with it. I could almost visualize what it looked like back in the 1800s. It had to be gorgeous. Covered bridge over a mill pond right above a big waterfall, and a beautiful old mill on the hill. Wow, Disneyland couldn't have designed it any better. Now, I knew that festival would make this possible. Like I said, we didn't have enough money for the down payment, and Mildred actually offered to give us half of it so we could buy it. Without the festival, there's no way my wife and I could put over $100,000 into this building, the dam, the foundation, and the property. The festival is just what makes it happen. It's kind of a for 10 days, but it's payday. Now the rest of the year we're open. If you want to come and see the old mill, the covered bridge, we're open all summer.